there, my name is Dr. May. In this video, we're going to be solving multi-step equations. Now, if you have not seen my video on 1 and 2-step equation, I'm going to link it above in the cards for you to watch first, because I think it is key to what we're going to do here. But if you've watched that video, then I want to just encourage you that we're going to add 1 step to that solving process. Now, first thing, I like to draw an imaginary line at that equal sign. It divides the problem in half so we can look at the 2 sides of the equation. Now, I want you to think with a multi-step equation that first of all, there is some kind of simplifying that needs to be done. So if you look at the left side of the equation, I want you to think simplify. What can we simplify here? Well, I do see that there are 2 terms that have y's in them. You might have seen the y and the 4y. So what we're going to do is we're going to combine those like terms. 1y plus 4y would give me 5y. And 5y then minus 7 would equal 13. Now here's the good part. Now this is a 2-step equation. How do I know? Because I look at the variable and it has 2 things happening to it. It's being multiplied by 5. It's being subtracted by 7. So we're going to take care of the subtracting 7 part first by doing the opposite of subtracting 7. The opposite of subtracting 7 is to add 7. And you'll notice I'm going to do that on both sides of the equal sign. Now, the reason I did that is because subtracting 7 and then adding 7 cancel each other out, and we're left with 5y equals, and then we have 13 plus 7, which is 20. And now we can ask ourselves what's happening to the variable. It's being multiplied by 5. So we're going to do the opposite of multiplying by 5. The opposite is to divide by 5. And multiplying by 5, dividing by 5 cancel each other out, giving us y equals 4. And that's my solution. So don't miss this here. The first step is we simplify, right? Now, sometimes that might mean we add like terms. Sometimes that might mean we'll distribute. We'll see that in another example. And then it becomes a 2-step equation. We can start doing the opposite. Now, let's take a look at another one here. Again, on problem number 2, I'm going to draw that imaginary line at the equal sign. And then I'm going to look to simplify. Now, in this problem, simplifying is going to look like distributive property. How do I know? Because I've got a number written in front of the parentheses. So I'm going to distribute the 3 to the a and to the 5. So 3 times a will give me 3a. 3 times 5 will give me 15. And then I have this plus 19 equals negative 2. A lot of students forget that plus 19, so I don't want you to miss that. Now, we have removed the parentheses now by distributing, so let's go ahead and collect some like terms. Okay, remember, like terms have the same variable and the same exponent. We don't have exponents in these, but that's okay. I have 2 numbers here that don't have variables. So I have negative 15 and I have positive 19 that I'm going to combine. I'm going to leave the 3a by itself, and then negative 15 plus 19 will give me positive 4, and that's going to equal negative 2. I want you to recognize that's our 2-step equation now. 2 things are happening to the variable. It's being multiplied by 3. It's being added by 4. So let's do the opposite of adding 4, which is to subtract 4. Notice I did it on both sides of the equation again. So plus 4 minus 4 cancel each other out. I'm left with 3a equals negative 2 minus 4 is negative 6. Now, if you say, Dr. May, I'm not real good with negatives, that's okay. Use your calculator. If you need a calculator, use the free Desmos calculator in the description here. I've put the link for you. Let's finish up this one by, we notice that the variable is being multiplied by 3, so we'll do the opposite of multiplying by 3. That is dividing by 3. Those 2 cancel out, giving me a equals negative 2 as my final answer there. I hope you're seeing the pattern here. The pattern is we simplify, until we get a two-step equation, and then we start doing opposites, okay? Let's look at problem number 3. And if you've noticed, our problems are getting a little bit more difficult. That's intentional because I want you to feel like you're gaining some confidence even though the problems are getting more difficult. All right, let's look at problem number 3 here. So we know simplify first, and I'm seeing a parenthesis here that's leading me to believe distributive property. Now the question is, do I distribute the 3? And the answer is no. Let me show you why. Because that minus in front of the 3, I'm going to change to a plus and changing the sign on the 3. Ooh, that's higher level stuff I want you to take advantage of, okay? I changed the subtraction to a plus and I changed the sign of the next number so that when I go to distribute, I'm going to distribute the -3 here. There and there. I'm going to leave the -9 out in front and I'm distributing now. Okay, so -3 times 2r, -6r. -3 times -1, +3. All right. I'm still simplifying here. So again, I see those two terms that don't have a variable with them. We call those constants. And we're going to combine those. I'm going to go ahead and put this -6r in front. I kind of like him to go first. And then I've got -9 plus 3. -9 plus 3 gives me -6. Again, if you need help with those negatives, definitely click on that Desmos graphing calculator. All right. Finally got down to my two-step equation. Notice we had 2 simplify steps, but now I'm to my two-step equation. I can start doing some opposites. Okay, so we need to do the opposite of adding -6. A lot of students tell me that's minus -6, and they're right. However, minus -6 kind of gets complicated. So what I like to do opposite is adding +6. Forgive me, I did not draw my imaginary line at the equal sign, but I'm going to put it there. And again, I did the opposite of adding -6 by adding +6. Because those two go away, I'm left with -6r equals -18 plus 6 gives me -12. And now I'm ready to do the opposite of multiplying by -6, which is to divide by -6. So now we can see that multiplying by 6 and dividing by 6 will cancel to give us r equals, and then -12 divided by -6 gives us +2. So remember, we have a simplify step. That simplify step can look like collecting like terms, can look like distributing, and then collecting like terms. But ultimately, you're looking for that two-step equation to start doing the opposite to both sides. Let's take a look at 2 more problems. Again, remember, we're getting a little bit more difficult with each problem. So for this problem, you may be thinking, oh, I've got to collect some like terms. You'd be right, except first we have to distribute. Well, it doesn't look like there's anything to distribute, but check out that minus sign right there. If we look at that minus sign and we change it to a plus and putting a -1 in front of this parentheses, then you can see the distributing that we need to do. So let us distribute that -1 to the x and to the 5. So we'll leave this x minus 3. We don't have anything to distribute to it. And then let's distribute -1 times x will give me -1x. -1 times -5 will give me +5. And now, friends, we can start to look for those like terms. I don't know about you. I like to highlight them. It focuses my eye on them. So I've got positive 1x, negative 1x, and 2x. So if I combine those together, positive 1x plus negative 1x gives me 0 x's, plus 2 x's will give me 2x. And then I've got these two numbers that don't have variables with them. I've got negative 3 and positive 5. So I'll combine those. Negative 3, positive 5 gives me 2, and that equals 0. Now we have our two-step equation. That's what we're looking for. That's our clue to let us know we start doing the opposite. So we're going to do the opposite of adding 2. That's subtracting 2. We know those cancel, leaving me with 2x equals, and 0 plus negative 2 is negative 2. Now we are doing the opposite of multiplying by 2. The opposite of multiplying by 2 is to divide by 2. Leaves me with x equals, and then negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. Again, if you're having trouble with the negatives, definitely use that free Desmos graphing calculator to help you. All right, one more. The hardest one of the whole video. If you are made it this far, then you're definitely getting the challenge problem, because there is lots of distributing here. Okay. And when we look at distributing, we're going to look to the inside of the furthest inside that we can get. Okay. So we're actually going to look here. I'm highlighting it so you can focus your attention and your eyes on it. And what I'm going to do is to just copy the rest of the problem. Okay. Now I'm going to write the G from right here. And then I'm going to change this minus, because I know I'm not distributing 3. I have to change that to a plus and change the sign of the next number. So now I am distributing negative 3 instead of just positive 3. And again, friends, we are focusing our attention here inside of this first before we do anything else. In fact, the rest of this I'm just writing because I'm going to do something with it in a little bit, just not yet. So let's distribute the negative 3 here. So I've got G plus, and now we're distributing negative 3 times G gives us negative 3G. Negative 3 times negative 5 gives us positive 15. Okay, we cleared one distributing. And you may be thinking, oh my goodness, how many do we have? We have 2 more, because you see the 5 there. It's got to go to this parentheses. You see the 2 here. It's got to go to this bracket, which we treat just like a parentheses. So our next step is to do some more distributing. So we're going to distribute the 5. We're going to distribute the 7. So 5 times G, 5G. 5 times 7, 35. Okay. Now let's distribute the 2. And I've got to distribute it to the G. Then I distribute the 2 to the negative 3G. Then I distribute the 2 to the 15. Let's see what that looks like. 2 times G is 2G. 2 times negative 3G, negative 6G. And 2 times 15, 30. And don't forget, we have this whole other side of the equation, right? Let's not forget it. So we've done all the distributing. Now, can you guess what we'll do next? You're right, like terms. All right, so I'm going to do the 5G, the 2G, the negative 6G. Okay. So 5G plus 2G, 7G. 7G plus negative 6G is 1G. And then I have this negative 35 and positive 30. Negative 35 plus positive 30 is negative 5. And it's equal to 0. Well, you may be saying, well, we don't have a two-step equation. You're right. We have a one-step. Easy for us, because now we can ask ourselves what's happening to the variable. It's being subtracted by 5. So we'll do the opposite by adding 5 to both sides. We do that because these two cancel, leaving us with G equals 5. Oh my goodness, look how long this problem was. And we condensed it down by distributing, then simplifying by collecting like terms, then doing opposite to both sides. Voila, we came to the answer. Friends, thanks so much for hanging in there with me. I hope solving these multiple step equations with you helps you as you're solving your equations. Bye for now.